Good afternoon and welcome to our June lunch series with the Lower Middle Tennessee Priority Team. This month, we're kind of going to be doing a little bit kind of different. I'll start out with a PowerPoint presentation, and then as you can see behind me, we're going to be cooking today. This month we're celebrating National Dairy Month. We're going to be celebrating National Beef Month coming up. So I thought it would maybe be fun to do a live cooking presentation. I had a comment earlier from a family member saying that it was going to be a comedy show. So I hope it's not. I hope it's not going to be a comedy show. I think I've got everything lined up and ready. So to begin with, just kind of looking at what we're going to do today. So this recipe came from the Tennessee Beef Industry Council, and I tried to choose something very easy, very limited on ingredients, but also healthy. We talk about making healthy lifestyle choices within UT Extension. So this is a 30-minute, less than 30-minute, recipe. It ends up being 4 servings, 2 tacos per serving, or two tacos per person, 330 calories, and then 28 grams of protein. I did the calculation on it, and my calculation for how much it costs per serving is $2.80. Now, that's for, a whole bottle of blue cheese dressing, a whole bottle of buffalo sauce, a whole package of celery, a whole package of spinach. So if I had have had time to break it down by only using, a 1/4 of a cup or a 1/2 of a cup or a couple of sticks, it's going to be a lot less than $2.80. I was just using whole packages, whole bottles. So our ingredients, and as I'm, cooking and preparing today, if you can read it up on the screen, we're going to use a pound of very lean ground beef. I've got it right here. I chose the 93% lean packaged ground beef. So this package right here is 2.25 pounds, but we're only going to be using just a pound of it. It calls for 1/4 cup of hot pepper sauce. I know in real cooking shows, you're supposed to cover up, the brand name, whatever, but this is a Buffalo Wild Wing. It was a comfortable heat. It's a hot pepper sauce. You can use, Tabasco sauce, whatever your preference is. Just make sure it's a hot pepper sauce. It calls for 8 taco shells. And even if you were to use the pre-packaged, pre-made hard shells, it would make the cost go down a lot more. This is a personal preference. I'm actually allergic to wheat. So I get the gluten-free, just the tortillas here. Now, these were $4.88. So that kind of made our cost per serving go way up. But all you need is 8 taco shells, whether they're soft taco shells or hard taco shells. The recipe calls for a cup of thinly sliced lettuce. So I was talking with our FCS agent, Jenny. I was showing her the recipe saying, hey, do you think this is good? Does the protein sound good? What about the fiber? So even though the recipe calls for, thinly sliced lettuce, we're going to be using spinach today. Spinach is a good provider of riboflavin, magnesium, fiber. So any kind of dark leafy greens will be good for you. And then the next ingredient, reduced fat. This is fat-free blue cheese. If you're more of a fan of ranch, what you can do is you can use, you know, a fourth a cup of ranch dressing and then stir some blue cheese crumbles in there. I prefer blue cheese over anything. Shredded carrot. So they already had shredded carrots in a bag. That's what we will be using today. And then we've got celery over here. We're going to do a third a cup of chopped celery and then 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh cilantro. You'll notice that I have not chopped up the spinach. I've not chopped up the celery. I've not chopped up the cilantro. I didn't want to have everything chopped, prepared, done, and then it only take us, you know, 15 minutes as long as it takes just to brown the meat. You know, to do this, I wanted to show you real time how long it's going to take to prepare this. So we'll get into this, but first of all, of course, we're going to heat our skillet. I've got a skillet over here that's just warming. We're going to cook our ground beef until it is brown. Of course, we're going to pour off the drippings to help make it a little bit healthier. We'll stir in the pepper sauce, cook a little bit, and then it is a lot of just, you know, putting it together. This does say to heat the taco shells, but we're not going to be heating those with the flour tortilla. If you are, you know, today after we finish, if you decide to, you know, say, hey, here is something that I think that I can serve to my family. I hope you guys can see this. Pipe in, unmute if you can't see it, but this is the Tennessee Beef Industry Council's website. What's really good about their recipes, it shows over here in the corner, you know, how many servings, it's got your protein, your calories, how long it takes. They've got a picture with every one of them. And then what I really like is if you're really looking at your nutrition, they even, you know, have the pie charts and the graphs showing your percentage of the daily value. Now that's for a 2000, you know, calorie diet, but I really like seeing those values on there. I highly recommend you go check out their website. You know, it's tnbeef.org. You can see on the top, it has, you know, recipes, how to cook and prepare beef, whether that's ground beef or steaks or a roast. They've got a whole section on nutrition, on raising beef. And those of us who are cattle producers, they've even got a cattleman's corner. This is where, whenever I was thinking about recipes to kind of put together and present, this is the first place that I went to, was tnbeef.org. So that's an overview of what we are going, you know, to be doing today. So let me go ahead. And we will start preparing. And then again, you know, unmute if I think I've got it to where you can see everything over here. But if you have a question, feel free to unmute. The computer's up here. I'm going to be behind another table back here. I'm not going to be looking at the chat function. So feel free to unmute and ask any questions, and we will get started. All right, so I did wash my hands before I came in here, but I did bring the hand sanitizer too. So normally before I cook at home, chef's term that mise en place, I get everything ready. But today, while we're cooking the ground beef, I'm going to be chopping and putting together. But I've got my cutting board, knives, I had to go ahead and lay out my utensils here. So to begin with, we have a pound of ground beef. So I'll go ahead and get that open and get it cooking. And again, if you have any questions, any comments along the way, please feel free to let me know. All right. And I'm gonna be cooking our ground beef a little bit off of the picture, and that's just so that as it cooks, some of the sound doesn't interfere. However, I hope everyone, I'll come up here. This is the ground beef chopper that I'll be using. I hate to endorse a specific product, but if you don't have one of these, invest. I think they're $4 or so, $4 or $5, but this is one of the best inventions ever made for cooking. So I'm just gonna chop it up a little bit, get it browning. So while we've got the ground beef cooking, while it's over here browning and cooking, we will go ahead and prepare some of our ingredients. So we are going to go ahead and start chopping up our spinach. And just as a heads up, I've already washed everything. I washed everything before I brought it up here into the classroom. So if you do see me just grabbing something out of the container, it's been washed. So we'll go ahead and look at, so instead of our lettuce, again, we're using a darker, leafier green. We're going to use spinach. I've got some plates right here. I've got some measuring spoons. So I'm just going to give this a quick rough chop of the spinach. And of course, if you don't like spinach, feel free to use lettuce like the recipe calls for. You can use your iceberg lettuce, or if you prefer maybe a romaine lettuce is going to be a little bit crispier, you know, a lot darker, and it really doesn't wilt as bad as the iceberg. Whenever the iceberg touches, you know, the warm meat. I like crispy lettuce. So I just did a rough chop of that. I'm going to see if I've got a cup here. If not, we can always do more. But I think I eyeballed that pretty good. And usually if I'm doing tacos or cooking for a big group, I've just got these little party appetizer trays. And I'll be putting the spinach, the celery, the carrots, all of that stuff in here. And especially if you're serving this and doing this for a bigger crowd, they can put how much ever they want to on it. So I'm going to go ahead and put our spinach there. And next, what we'll do is we'll measure out our hot pepper sauce. Once we get to that step, we've got our spinach, We'll measure out our blue cheese whenever we're to that step. So now, since I've already bought the shredded carrots, I'm just gonna measure out a half a cup. I've got my measuring cups here, but I'm gonna walk and check on my ground beef real quick. It is browning up nicely. And also for ground beef, remember that just because it may look brown, you can't always judge ground beef purely by the color. I know we here at our extension office, we've got some meat thermometers that we give out to people for free. I don't want to speak on the behalf of all extension offices, but if you need a meat thermometer, reach out to your local extension agent. That they may have some that they can provide to you. Yeah, I think we've got just a couple more minutes on that. I am going to measure out a half a cup of the carrots real quick. All right, so our carrots are finished. And another reason why I guess putting the toppings in their little individual pockets here. You may have somebody that doesn't like spinach. You may have somebody that doesn't like carrots. This recipe doesn't call for tomatoes. I know a lot of people do like tomatoes on their tacos, but I'm one of a rare few people that I'm highly allergic to tomatoes. So if the recipe had called for them, I wouldn't have used them. But also for picky eaters like me, people can pick and choose what they want to put on there. So our next ingredient is celery. So for our celery, it's going to call for 1/3 of a cup. And I brought this contraction in from home. If I'm ever chopping onions, carrots, I did squash, zucchini, and cucumber over the weekend. It comes with many different blade attachments. It's got a spiralizer, but usually anything that's finely chopped, you can, I did a whole bunch of fresh strawberries with it not too long ago. If you're trying to eat healthier and maybe eating boiled eggs or making egg salad, this is a really good way to be a lazy cook. It's kind of what I say. It's not really being lazy, but it sure takes some time off prepping food. So for our celery, I am just gonna cut up what will fit into there, and then we'll get us 1/3 of a cup. I'm sorry if that's loud, but this contraction does make a little noise. And I hope that if you are a true cook out there, please don't cringe. I don't claim to be a professional cook. I try to find the easy way to do things. I was joking, or well, I always joke with people. I really don't enjoy cooking, but whenever I do cook, I have to think about it as a chemistry and science experiment, because anytime that I'm, measuring, putting heat to stuff, if I You know, if it changes from, I don't know, a solid to a liquid, or I make a lot of caramels and peanut brittle over the winter. So whenever you're seeing that sugar crystallize, that's the kind of cooking that I like to do. I really have to think of it as a science experiment. Other than that, I really just don't enjoy it too much. So I'm going to give our ground beef one final spin in the skillet here. And then while it finishes cooking, we'll get to the cilantro. And again, with ground beef, you don't really look at the color, so to say. You use your meat thermometer, and when ground beef is done, it should have an internal temperature of around 160 degrees. So I'm going to I grabbed a whole lot more than what I'm going to use. Fresh cilantro. I love the smell of fresh cilantro. I know on, you know, cooking shows and stuff, they talk about smell-o-vision, but I love cilantro. I love the smell of it. So with the cilantro, we only need 2 tablespoons. So I'm just going to give the cilantro a quick rough chop. I kind of like my cilantro in big kind of chunky pieces. Also, I can't eat salsa, but if you do make your own homemade salsa, you know, grab you some fresh cilantro to put in your salsa at home. It will turn the most basic salsa into wonderful salsa. So I'm going to give this a couple more sprigs, a rough chop here. And I know we're celebrating beef, but let's say you may not like ground beef, you may have an allergy to it. You know, you could use ground lamb. You could use, you know, shredded chicken. You could even use, you know, rotisserie chicken. Really any kind of, you know, meat protein that you really want. I was recently on a fishing trip, and I had fish tacos probably 3 nights that I was on the fishing trip. But we're going to celebrate beef here, but I will be also using this recipe with some of the fish that I caught on my trip. So I think we're almost done over here. I have cut the heat way down. Of course, normally it doesn't take this long to brown beef, but I am in an enclosed room. I don't want to get smoke going anywhere. I don't want the other people in the building wondering, you know, what's going on. So of course, normally it shouldn't take this long to brown it. But I'm going pretty low and slow. I'll give it a couple more little turns here. And also, since this is such lean ground beef, I really can't bring the camera over here. But I'm not even gonna have to drain out any kind of drippings. I mean, this pan, it's a non-stick pan, but there's no drippings in it. Basically, all I'll do, is wipe it out with some paper towels, and then I'll take it back to the kitchen and wash it. But that's just whenever you use these lower cuts, lower percentages of fat in your ground beef, it makes a difference. I'm going to go ahead and cut my skillet off. Again, while this has been baking, or while this has been cooking, if you choose to use hard shells, they could be put in the oven, or some people like to hold the tortilla shells over a flame to crisp them up. So while our ground beef is cooking, I didn't have to remove any of the drippings. That's why I brought that up about the drippings. So normally at this point, if you did not use a really lean ground beef, at this point, this is when you would drain it off. And then you're going to put the ground beef back into the skillet. We're going to take our hot pepper sauce, whichever hot pepper sauce of your choosing. Like I said, I like the Buffalo Wild Wings. You may like the Diamond or the True Tabasco, but I'm using this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out 1/4 of a cup over here, and we will mix that. I'm going to turn my heat back up just a little. You don't want to boil it. You don't want to do anything like that. We're basically just going to warm them up, let them melt kind of together. So I'm going to use a spoon so I can get all of it in there. All right. I'm going to mix it up really quick. And I really wish you could smell it. I guess I should have invited more people over here to the office today to come have lunch with me. Maybe I'll do this one of our next meetings. We can get together and cook lunch. So I'm kind of warming this up. It says just to cook it for 1 minute. I had already turned the eye off, so I'm going to let it cook for a couple more minutes than that. So what we're going to do while that's kind of warming back up, I'm going to get a taco shell out. Sometimes I will microwave these. Our microwave is back in the kitchen. So I don't have access to it here physically in this office. Jenny, I did not tell you I was going to do this, but Jenny, if you want to walk up here and I'll fix you one, and you can maybe tell people how they taste. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I know Jenny's back there watching in her office as well. So I'm going to go ahead and plate one of these up for you real quick. So I've got my gluten-free tortilla shell, and with the blue cheese, it says to use 1/4 cup of blue cheese dressing for the entire cooking of it. So what we can do here is I used 1/4 cup with the buffalo sauce earlier. It's not going to hurt to cross-contaminate buffalo sauce and blue cheese. So what I'm going to do is, so that I know not to overload the tacos. I put the blue cheese just right here. And so these are our final toppings. We've got, we started with our spinach, and then we chopped up our celery. I cheated and I bought shredded carrots already. And then I've got my rough chopped cilantro, and then we've got blue cheese dressing in there. And then again, if you don't like blue cheese, you can do ranch. Just make sure it's a low fat or fat-free type dressing. So Jenny, do you want all of it? You want some of each? All right. So Jenny Smith. She's coming on camera. She is our Family and Consumer Sciences and 4-H agent. She's been a big blessing to me here in the office because times like this, I can go to her and ask her for recipe advice since I don't cook that much. Again, she's the one that has suggesting, using spinach over the iceberg lettuce, any of our Family and Consumer Science agents, reach out to them. They've got a lot of tips on how to turn, just regular recipes into healthier recipes. I know we should all, try to eat a little bit healthier, but reach out to your local extension office. Us ag agents, we can kind of help on the production, the forage, the livestock side. But that's what the FCS agents are there for. They teach healthy eating classes. Jenny's my resource for eating healthier.
And it smells amazing in here. Like the whole office smells amazing. So I'm excited to try.
So even walking up the hallway, it smelled good. Okay. Well,
so I could smell it as you
and she would tell me if it didn't. I promise she would. So I don't want to overload it too much. I'll let you fold it. Okay. And she's gonna tell me how I did. And then while she's folding hers and gonna give me the review, just something else that you can do. If I throw a dinner party or anything, I try to make it look pretty. So the middle of celery, so you've got the middle of your celery hearts and stems. You can use these as decorations. You can pull off a few sprigs, put them on your plates, or, you may have some flowers growing out in the garden or in the yard, whatever. Well, stick a couple of these, in a mason jar or in a vase. But I decorate with a lot of vegetables and fruits. But while she's kind of taking her bites, some other things to go along with tacos. I'm trying to keep this, right at 30 minutes. And since I'm not in a full spray kitchen, I'm kind of limited. But there's fat-free refried beans. There is, I'm going to walk up here real quick so you can see it better. So there's fat-free refried beans. They're a healthy alternative. I love this seasoning right here. This is the low sodium version. So it's kind of like a cayenne chili pepper seasoning with lime. This is great. You can also purchase light sour cream. I actually prefer the light sour cream over the regular heavy sour cream. And then so I love corn. So another side dish that you could do. I was out on a farm visit yesterday and I was paid in sweet corn. So what I did this morning was I just desilked it. And normally if I was at home, as soon as I got done with the ground beef, I would transfer it out, wipe the drippings, and I would use the skillet to just, what I do is I mix, so this was like 3 ears of sweet corn. I would put, a couple of tablespoons of the low fat sour cream in there. And then again, I hate to say one brand over the other, but Trader Joe's, everything but the eloped. Love this. I use it on everything. But corn, a little bit of sour cream, and a little bit of chili and lime seasoning. You could have a meal spread, for a whole big family. So Jenny, how is it?
It's delicious. So when you were saying the whole thing about ranch over blue cheese, not a blue cheese fan, but I thought I'm gonna try it. And I like it. It's really good.
Well, good.
It's very flavorful, very healthy.
All right. So now we've got somebody that's not a blue cheese person like I am.
But it's good. I like it. The flavors blend together. So
Not too spicy.
No, it's not.
You could add more spice if you like jalapenos, chop up jalapenos and put them so people could, I try not to overload her taco just because I like heat and spices. On mine, I am gonna sprinkle some of the Cajun lime. I will be doctoring, as I say, I'll doctor my taco up. But again, this is a reasonably economical meal. Again, this was using whole bottles. I didn't break it down by the packages. This was whole bottles, whole packages. Again, my gluten-free taco shells were $4.88. So by breaking it down into what you actually use and maybe using a cheaper version instead of gluten-free, taco shells, it's going to bring that cost, a lot down. And then of course, I think the refried beans were $1.50. The corn, you can get a can of corn for cheap and just add, sour cream and spices to it. And it's quick and easy. I could make it here at the office without making a big mess. But we just want you, to cook fresh, cook healthy. This is grilling season. We're grilling steaks, pork chops, lamb, fish. So just try to cook healthier alternatives. It doesn't have to be hard and it doesn't have to be expensive. So with that, does anybody have any questions? Or if anybody's close by, have a lot left over if you want some lunch. Anybody have any questions for me?